Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 Road to Glory series in 2020 for episode number 11 today for the German and it's raining again. The series has been off for 2 weeks, and it's still, can't deal with this. Right, anyways, I was about to say previously, last episode at the British Grand Prix, we had a rather topsy-turvy time. I think that's the best way to describe it. Oh, no. Oh, there's been a massive problem there. We've hit the anti-stall. 5 cars have overtaken us. We're being swarmed. Puncher on lap 1. Come through into the last lap of the GP in first place to go on to lead the final lap, to go on for the victory at the British Oh my, what on earth has occurred into turn 1? So with that, we come here to the German Grand Prix looking forward to trying to reverse what happened last episode and trying to get what was essentially a win stolen away from us. I don't know, hopefully we'll have the pace for this weekend. We should in theory. Obviously we've got that long straight at the back of Hockenheim to help us out here. And good news, there is no failures on the upgrades of the car. Let's ignore the fact that I purchased no upgrades that could actually physically come in for this episode. There are no failures, so that's something to celebrate about. And something else to celebrate is actually, despite there being rain at the start of this episode in practice, there is going to be no rain in qualifying and the race, so hallelujah. It feels like it's honestly been 10 races since the last time we had dry weather. I actually can't remember, I literally cannot remember the last episode we'd had a full dry episode. That's how long it's been. But what might be a little hurdle for us this episode is Ferrari upgrading quite a fair bit, and now they are the fastest car on paper. We're down to P3 now, so no longer are we first place there. Obviously, we're waiting on an upgrade to come in. We did purchase one at the end of last episode, but it will take a few episodes to come in there, and we don't exactly have too much money to spend anyway on the top right on the R&D points. So we're going to be in this situation for a little bit, so it's very much now the damage limitation portion of the season. We need to wait until our car is quick once more. Of course, though, this is just on paper. We could still be pretty nippy. We know the engine is still going to be there. It's just a case of, I'm sure the Ferrari and Red Bull are just better at us in the corners and the chassis, which will be an issue in Sector 3, I think, at Hockenheim. But Sectors 1 and 2, to an extent, I think still could be pretty good. And with no precipitation in sight, I am very much looking forward to this one. So for once, I'm not going into qualifying pissed off. We're going in nice and positive, okay? Forget about what happened last race. That was a complete implosion of everything. And now we go on and have a nice, calm, soothing episode with no rain, no issues, and we will limit the damage. That's what I'm hoping for. So here we are then on a nice calming lap of the Hockenheim GP into turn 1, taking that corner as if it doesn't even have a bump there, to be honest, because our car just apparently floats over curbs these days. I mean, it might just be the physics of the game, but let's not get into semantics there. Taking the next left-hander nice and easy before going up to 5 million miles an hour with this rocket ship of a Formula 1 car, and it's all going quite breezy right now. We're easily in first, but it's gone. Well, that was fun while it lasted, but of course, like I said, the aero of the other teams, especially Ferrari, where there are new upgrades this weekend, looking strong as ever through the last sector. We try and coax this bus of a car through the final few corners there, then slam down the throttle pedal, try and get the power down as much as we can through the last corner. Across the line, though, and, well,
it's a bit disappointing, but we just need to push hard in the race and we can still come away with something.
That's pretty rich coming from you, Jeff. That's pretty rich from you. And you know what's even more rich is the fact that we came P6, which I don't think is too bad, all things considered, because our teammate Pierre Gasly came in P10, a whopping nearly 6 tenths behind us. But no, we're the ones that did a bad job. It's a disappointing day in the office, of course, because we've beaten our teammate by miles. We're actually not too far off in relative terms to a very quick Ferrari with upgrades, but no, disappointing day. Cool. Good to see after a few episodes of what was apparently a holiday for Jeff's crazy pills, he's kicked back in and he's back on full form today.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
I mean, technically, Jeff, last episode we gave them a race worth watching. I mean, it wasn't worth watching for them, but it was worth watching as a whole. Did you see them have action earlier on we showed in the previously part? So strategy-wise today, then, it will be a one-stop from the soft to the medium tyres. That should be an issue. Fuel will be a consideration because the engine really hasn't been as efficient as I want it to be. You know, for the power that we have, it still sucks quite a lot of fuel. I mean, knowing Williams, there's probably some sort of oil and fuel leak somewhere in the car. That's maybe the reason why we have to still save some fuel, even with all the upgrades we've got, let's be real. But, I mean, that's just how it is sometimes at this team, isn't it? And as always, we're just going to have to deal with it with the same gusto and charisma that we can only bring to the Road to Glory series. So here we go then, to 5 red lights, to a very gloomy German Grand Prix. Fire lights are out, and we're underway from P6 on the grid. It's a great start for Leclerc and Sergio Perez maybe into turn 1. We're side by side with Valtteri Bottas. He goes the long way round. It's 3 wide momentarily. We go to the outside there, off circuit momentarily, but we find our way around the outside of 1, 2, 3 cars nearly before Verstappen dives it back down the inside to get the P3 back from us there. But still, we did very well to survive that, as there's yellow flags behind. Someone got caught up in an issue, and 2 cars are out this Grand Prix then with the virtual safety car out there, and we did very well to avoid all the action into turn 1, because we could have easily smacked into the back of the 2 Red Bull cars as they went side by side. We had to take to the evasive road and the curb, but obviously that wasn't too much of an issue for us. So now we move through to the restart then. As you can see clearly, the car really not wanting to turn in there, as the bus-like characteristics carry over into the race. Obviously made probably even worse with the heavier fuel, but I'm sure, don't worry, give it 2 laps and all the fuel will be leaked out anyway somewhere with the hole in the car. But we go down the inside of Max Verstappen now as Leclerc looks on the back of Vettel. We get very feisty on the exit there with Verstappen and go so wide, in fact, that Verstappen and Bottas now are side by side. So great action either side of us here as we look ahead, and up the road Leclerc is going for the move on Sebastian Vettel there to the inside. The German on the left tries to swoop round to retake the lead, maybe defend against his younger teammate, as we just stick behind in P3, but looking to try and close up. And already, you know, we've closed the gap by about half the distance there, purely down the straight due to our speed in a straight line. And also, of course, these guys are losing each other time, but at the same time, you can see I'm still struggling to even get the car turned in properly there. It's just purely because of a case of literally this car is producing way too much power that the brakes can't handle it, the aero can't handle it. I'm hitting the brakes at what my brain thinks should be the correct time to brake in this car. A season 3 car of career mode, obviously, if you remember, it's the 3rd season of this entire series, and yet we still don't have enough downforce to meet the demands of that. In many ways, in certain corners, I think this car is actually less drivable than it ever was in seasons 2 and 1, which I don't think was actually physically possible, but knowing Williams, they always are able to find new levels of hitting rock bottom, so wouldn't shock me too much there. As now we watch on Leclerc and Vettel do battle once again, but now we can join the party and look at this, the acceleration there, the only thing we have got going for this car this season, and we power past Leclerc. And can we get now close enough to make a move on Vettel? No, we can't. That's the inner Crofty coming out of me in the commentary there. We were nowhere near the man in the brake zone, but we've got the move done, at least on one Ferrari. But now look at this, we make a move to the inside. I spoke too soon. Here we go. Oh no, oh, it's all gone wrong in the gravel. We hold the car in a straight line. We literally tried to make a move down the inside. The engine wanted to do it, but the aero said no, and literally we just couldn't get the nose turned in any more than we could, and we hit the gravel trap. So we're back down to P3, and it's back down to square one again as the rear end snaps. So we really are struggling quite a fair bit here at keeping this car in a straight line in the corners, as we now have to go and recompose ourselves for another attempt at this overtake. This time we swoop through and make a lovely lunge round the outside then at the hairpin of Sebastian Vettel and Leclerc. We're 3 wide with the Ferrari on the exit of that corner. Leclerc gets the better of Vettel this time, but we go for the double toe. Got Vettel, gonna get Leclerc on the outside. It's actually great battling here, wheel-to-wheel racing with Leclerc in the Ferrari there. We're up into P1 though of the German Grand Prix, so things are looking up, and so we may not be able to control the car every single corner in a fluid motion, but I mean, does it matter when the car is so good in this part of the circuit? Now there's another virtual safety car that has been called out there behind us. I believe the 2 Red Bulls have come to war as Valtteri Bottas is now out. Let's have a look at what happened here. So Verstappen on the outside of that right-hander on the right-hand side of your screen, then we'll turn to the inside for the next left, and he's going to squeeze Bottas at oh, once again, those tricky front suspensions, they just can't let up. You know, I've told you guys many episodes, we need to start a fundraiser, okay? There needs to be more done, okay? It's not just about the problems we're having right now in the real world, it's also about these virtual problems, okay? Who's taking care of these front suspension arms? No one. That's what. Clearly not. But we now come in for the pit stop then on the restart of that virtual safety car, because I thought that's the best time to come in, to be honest, when everyone's bunched up here. Let's try and make a free pit stop. It's not really a free one, of course, because everyone's already green now. But because everyone was bunched up, we can maybe get in some clean air here and try and use that to our advantage. And hopefully the Ferraris fight enough that we can stay ahead of them there. But we're going to have to see how the medium tyres fare. And of course, the soft tyres weren't really completely worn out yet. So this is kind of a bit of an early pull of the trigger for me, just to try and mix things up a little bit. My teammate Gasly is now into the pit stops as well. So he's going a little bit earlier as well. We've both moved our pit stops one lap earlier, basically, in this GP. But as we come around through the last corner, then get the power down, hot lap mode, we're going to go up into rich mix. But you can see we're at negative fuel. So once again, the car's actually struggling to save the fuel through the race. So we will have to do some fuel saving at some point in this Grand Prix, unfortunately, there. But we stay ahead of Sebastian Vettel, then Gasly behind the Mercedes car, I think that is, a little bit further down the road, and Leclerc yet to make a pit stop then. So we'll have to see how he goes. So he's gone for 2 more laps than us. So let's see if the overcut works for him. But meanwhile, like I mentioned, Gasly behind a Mercedes car down the road, not for too long now. He powers past with ease there. And that's just frankly embarrassing here at the German Grand Prix. So the Works Mercedes team having their pants pulled down by the tiny, unorganized team outfit here at Williams. Yeah, very embarrassing. I mean, you know how they had that classic kind of Reed makeover of all their clothes and team personnel kit for this Grand Prix in real life in 2019? I feel like maybe after this, their new team kit should have just kind of encompass a kind of brown paper bag to put over their heads in shame, really, because it is really just, it is just a bit of a shame for them, isn't it? And speaking of shame, it would be a shame for Ferrari as well, because we've just gone ahead and waltzed past Charles Leclerc in a straight line there, and we're up into first place of the German GP. But now lap number 9, yellow flags behind us, and an engine has gone popped, and it's gonna be for Pierre Gasly. And so after talking up the team so much, now my pants have been pulled down because the team have had an engine failure. I mean, I'm not too disheartened by it, let's be real. It's Pierre Gasly. You know, my feelings towards him were not hidden for the last few episodes. You know, I didn't like the fact he was becoming the number 1 in the team. So, you can't see my face, but I am pulling the Jeremy Clarkson, you know, smiling but not trying to smile face at the moment, and I think I'll be keeping that face the entire Grand Prix then. And so we move back to the more important Williams car then on lap number 10, 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Now Sebastian Vettel coming back at Leclerc at a rate of knots on the right-hand side. He's actually coming at such a rate of knots that he dives down the inside and goes to the inside of me. I don't know how he's done it there. Comes from such a long way back, and he gets the move done because I've got so much understeer as it is anyway with the car, let alone at that specific hairpin at Hockenheim's that I still can't take against the AI. And so Vettel is up into first place. We're down to second. Leclerc looking a little bit slow now, to be honest, there through these last few corners. Don't know if he has damage of any kind, but I think that racing point in the Mercedes car is getting closer and closer to him. Meanwhile, we have to stick behind Sebastian Vettel. Look at the understeer there, kicking in through that right-hander as the dirty air kicks in through into the stadium section. So now it's honestly a case of we just have to try and hang on for dear life with this car and try and wait until the main straight, because that's honestly the only place I can make a pass and where the car is actually quick, basically on this straight through the first corner kink, and then obviously the back straight with the DRS open there. And we are still very much within 1 second, as you can clearly see on the bottom right there, with the DRS open for the first bite of the cherry, and then the second will come through the right, then the left. Try and get the power down as quickly as we can in 4th and 5th gear. Little bit of a squirm on the rear end, but we open up DRS for the second time now, overtake mode, and even though we're so far back from the Ferrari car, look how much we're gaining here. And on the right hand side, close to the grass, it's fine margins, but we're up into first place once again. Get the car turned in to the curb to make sure Vettel doesn't have a little cheeky back down the inside move up his sleeve. And now lap number 12, you can see he overtakes us again, but this is just a wily old fox move here, honestly, letting him through on purpose just to get the DRS. This is the most mischievous move ever in Formula 1, but it has to be done. You have to do what you have to do to win these things, and so this is the game plan here. We can't overtake, we don't have any pace elsewhere on the circuit. All we have is this DRS straight on this, and if you thought anything else was going to happen in this Grand Prix, well, you'd be sadly wrong, because nothing else did happen in this Grand Prix. Actually, I tell a white lie, things did hot up a little bit in the last 2 laps here, with Vettel still in the back of me there, and we're doing the same thing, just trying to keep him behind on the straights. But now, Kimi Raikkonen lurking around in the background, the Racing Point car. We go defensive to the inside there, Vettel on the outside. We push him so wide with that defense that Raikkonen gets in the mix here. So, the former man from Ferrari there, going head-to-head with his former teammate there. They go side by side. Raikkonen still got it it in the Racing Point car there. I could have sworn, actually, he wasn't in this team at the start of this season. Does anyone else get that? I'm pretty sure it was me. I'm pretty sure it was Stroll and Hamilton at the start, because I made that joke about Hamilton swapping with Perez to get the Mercedes car he had last year, because, of course, the Racing Point car of 2020 is basically the Mercedes car of 2019. So I could have sworn Raikkonen was still an Alfa Romeo. At some point, he's had a driver transfer, which I've completely missed at some point in this series. So not only is the rain clouding my memory, the driver transfers are also a mystery to me. Unless I'm absolutely chatting honk and I'm just making things up, I'm pretty sure he wasn't in Racing Point before. But anyway, that's beside the point. He tried to make a move on Sebastian Vettel. It didn't quite work on the second last lap, but you can see on the last lap here, I mean, I can't say much apart from, look, the game's the game. It is what it is. I've said that a few times as of late in these videos, because, you know, you just got to do what you're going to do, and we get back through on Vettel. It's a bit of a weird tactic to slow down on purpose, get the DRS back, but when you're Williams, you got to try everything to get the most out of it, okay? Lately, okay, I didn't want to say it, but teams have been less charitable to us as of late. I don't know why. Obviously, maybe there's a lot more charity to go around in elsewhere in the world we live in right now, so maybe that's understandable. But because of that, you know, we have to, you know, change our game plan a little bit, and, you know, we have to try and get that luck. We have to try and get that luck in other ways. But anyway, as I've been waffling on about, oh, good luck, you saw there Raikkonen make a lovely little move on Sebastian Vettel. He's up into second place there, so kudos to the Iceman there. Still got it in 2020 in the Racing Point car, but as we come through on this here Central through the last two corners, and we come across the line to win the German Grand Prix, and we come across in style to... Oh my, and Raikkonen comes across in style as well. I was going to say we just did that, but Raikkonen also joins us on the grass. I think it's the first time the Iceman's shown that much emotion after a Grand Prix.
Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
It looks like it's time once again to hand out the silverware as these successful drivers make their way to the podium. It was a gritty performance today by Williams, and they've got the race win to prove it.
Well, there it is, our car in it's all its glory. That is absolutely amazing. That happened to us once before, the Chinese Grand Prix, I think it was there, but the fact that the animation renders in the car as it finished that race, legit, without the front wing and the front right side, what are they thinking, Park Ferme? Like, surely that's illegal. Surely we get done for the fact the car doesn't weigh the same as it did when we started the Grand Prix and entered this Grand Prix in the weekend. I mean, it's Williams, so we probably paid them under to try and get out of it, but...
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Was there really any competition for you today?
No, Claire, no. No competition really from anyone but my teammate. And he was on fire today. Quite literally on fire, as his engine went up in smoke. So, no one could match me then.
What do you think made the difference between this weekend and last weekend?
Seeing as it's the engine manufacturer's home GP, I guess I gotta say the power unit. I mean, actually, when I think about it, there's nothing else to compliment apart from the power unit. So, it's gonna have to be the power unit, Claire.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
Yeah, it's so easy to cut through the field when the car drives like this. And when I say this, I mean understeering, then oversteering, then understeering, and then going in a straight line to overtake them.
First in the championship. How does that feel?
You know what, Claire? Because it's not coming home in football this year for sure, because the Euros got cancelled, I guess I'll say it feels like it's coming home, you know? It can't come home in real life, so it can come home virtually in the Road to Glory series.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And so there we have it, the victory at the German Grand Prix. Justice, I feel, for what happened last time at the British Grand Prix. And there we go, we're absolutely battering them. 21 points ahead of Max Verstappen now. For the first time ever, I feel very, very comfortable where I am in the Drivers' Championship in this Williams car. And the constructors as well. We're ahead of both Ferrari and Red Bull. They can keep upgrading their cars, but it seems like our car is inevitable in Season 3. And the good news just keeps on rolling. I can already confirm next episode will guaranteed have no failures on the car, and that is because once again we can't actually buy any upgrades on the car, but that still guarantees no failures on the car, and that's good in my books. So guys, if you did enjoy this episode of the F1 Road to Glory series, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoy today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.